Year 11, we're doing a quick session here about how to approach an unseen poem, okay? So firstly, this is for literature paper 2 for Friday, and that will include obviously 3 sections. Section A is for your modern text, so some of you have done Lord of the Flies and some of you have done an Inspector Calls, and really you should be ideally spending about 45 minutes on that section. Section B is poetry, and it's obviously you've all studied different clusters, so you might have done power and conflict or love and relationships, and again that's about 45 minutes on that question. And then section C, which is where all the unseen poetry kind of comes into play. So you'll do an analysis of an unseen poem, and then you'll spend about 30 minutes on that one. And for the last question, which is a comparison of 2 unseen poems, you spend about 15 minutes on that, because it's only worth 8 marks. Right, so let's get to it then. If we look at the display now.
Can we just say that we're just focusing on section C, this first
Sorry, we're just focusing on section C, okay? So just the unseen poetry. On the display board you will see, and you'll see it's obviously up in the English area now, how to approach an unseen poem. We've got some steps to success, okay, that you can now follow. So we're going to be looking at how we can start to break something down, okay? So the first thing we need to do is read through the poem and figure out what it's actually about. What is the surface meaning? What is the poet trying to tell me, okay? Secondly, we then need to note down the poem's purpose, theme or message. What is the poet trying to potentially teach me? Is there an idea that's coming across to me? Anything at all, note it down. Thirdly, you then need to start thinking about the poet's emotions. We know loads and loads of different kinds of emotions. We're doing them all in class about write a create a sense of, write a create a feeling of, so keep that in mind when you're doing that. And then also thinking about for structure, does it remain constant? Is it the same emotion, or is there a journey for maybe the character or the voice in the poem, and is there maybe a sense of realisation potentially? And then finally it's all about finding those methods. So you've got all those emotions down now, how are they being shown, what's being used by the poet to do this. So you might be on word choice, these are some ideas, semantic field, what imagery is being presented to you, and also there's all your structural devices as well, like enjambment or caesura or anything like that. So that's what you need to be bearing in mind. So they're the 4 steps you need to take. Alright, today we're going to look at the falling leaves. Now if you wanted to pause the video now, go get yourself a copy of that on your iPad or anything, you could do, okay? But I'm going to be looking at the falling leaves. As we can see already, it is from First World War. It was written November 1915, so we can immediately now know the context of the poem at the time it was written. And I'm really, when I first look at a poem, I'm looking at the title, The Falling Leaves. First World War poetry. Essentially it's going to be some kind of metaphor there already, so potentially I could already annotate immediately with the title. So I've got different coloured pens, so I'm going to be popping up and down, guys, so just bear with me. Right, so let's go through the steps as well. Read through the poem. What is it about? Well, let's read through the poem then. So we've got the falling leaves, so potentially I'm already going to annotate already. Metaphor. Okay, firstly, November 1915. Today, as I rode by, I saw the brown leaves dropping from their tree in a still afternoon, when no wind whirled them whistling to the sky, but thickly, silently they fell, like snowflakes wiping out the noon, and wandered slowly thence, the thinking of a gallant multitude, which now all withering lay, slain by no wind of age or pestilence, but in their beauty strewed, like snowflakes falling on the Flemish clay. Okay, right, so I've read through the poem. What's it about? Potentially for me, I'm thinking it's about the soldiers' deaths. I don't think my apostrophe's in the right place there, because that's a single poem, so I need to put my apostrophe moving that around, so let's just put that there. Okay, it's about the soldiers' deaths, okay, they're all kind of dying, there's a lot of them, that's kind of the impression I'm getting. There's many of them. So that's my initial thought, okay? Now I'm going to think about what the poem's purpose is. What's the theme or the message? So a message potentially about devastation, trying to make for our awareness, devastation, build awareness. Obviously if it was written during 1915, then a lot of people, they've got to think about conscription then. people were signing up, all these young men were signing up, they wanted to kind of go to war, they thought it was a really good thing. Clearly this poet's not thinking it's a good thing, they want to get that message across. So building awareness. Could there be
Building awareness of what, miss, would you say?
probably about the reality of the war, really, I think. Of conflict. I suppose that kind of ties in what we've been looking at, really, with power and conflict poetry as well, the reality of it, because clearly people weren't aware of it at all back then. Right, now it says about exploring the emotions, the moods or the feelings. Does it remain constant or is it a journey? I think I'm going to kind of change my pen colour here potentially for emotions. So I'm going to go with blue. With blue already, but we'll go with it. Right, emotions. Today as I rode by, I saw the brown leaves dropping from their tree in a still afternoon when no wind whirled them. It's quite draining, really, isn't it? I think I'm going to have emotions of, from the start, I want to say despondent, but I don't really know. Depression, essentially, sullen. Thickly, silently they fell. I think that's kind of a bit, slightly a change. It's kind of going a bit more heavy now. So almost like overwhelmed here. So it's already a bit of a change. Oh, hello. Already a bit of a change there with the feelings and the emotions start to become overwhelmed just because there's so many of them. They fell like snowflakes wiping out the noon. Wandered slowly thence for thinking of a gallant multitude, which now all withering lay. That's quite a bit of a slain as well, a bit of a shift, I think. Shift here with emotion, slain, quite angry really. Slain's quite an angry verb, I would say. Angry, but in their beauty strewed, so obviously a bit of respect here as well.
Respect for who, miss?
The soldiers that have lost their lives, and probably actually the families as well that have actually lost their sons and brothers and cousins and everything else, like snowflakes falling on a Flemish clay. So it's far away, isn't it? So unable to do anything, I suppose. It's so far away, or it feels like it's so far away. So they're kind of my emotions now. Right, now I'm going to think about the methods that have been used to show these kind of ideas. So I'm going to go for a red colour. Potentially you could do this kind of thing in your exam as well if you had a different coloured pen, but wasting time, so potentially just stick to the same colour pen. Right, so I'm going to now think about the methods that have been used. I'm probably going to start to focus where I started to pick out where my emotions were. So in the opening I said there was kind of a bit of depression about it. It was very sullen. Morose, you could also add. Oh, she wrote that on. I can also add that on later. I'll add it on now. Morose, okay? Right, so today as I rode by, I saw the brown leaves. It's got I, who's not the first person there, so I'm supposed to potentially talk about these first person. Oh, she's been affected by that. Personally affected, maybe? Don't know. Just to get my initial ideas down. Brown leaves is quite a nice little noun phrase we could pick out. I could also go back to the title. So the noun phrase about brown, then you could look at your connotations of brown. Obviously like death.
What happens like with obviously the leaves are brown in life?
What, they decompose?
Yeah, so how does that link to the idea of the soldiers? So literally they are brown leaves, but actually could they represent...
What, the destruction of...
Yeah, the destruction of the soldier themselves, because they are about to decompose.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, I keep putting that apostrophe in the wrong place. Right, destruction of soldiers. Okay, so I can look at that. Leaves, there's obviously quite a bit of nature imagery in here as well, so I could think about the use of imagery. Why would we use nature? Is it like life, isn't it, really? It's a bit of a cycle, potentially. Drop in as well. Verb choice, present participle. Drop in. It's quite aggressive, really, and quite sudden. Shock. Okay, so then that's at the first section when it starts to become a bit more overwhelmed, thickly, silently, so we can start to look at these adverbs here. Silently, almost like no one knows, no one realises. Thickly, dramatic amount. All this has been used, all this imagery is being used to represent the soldiers despite it being about weather. So now we're saying about, look at this simile, like snowflakes here. Snowflakes obviously got connotations of being unique, one of a kind.
Also incredibly fragile.
Fragileness, yeah.
Like how life is fragile, these soldiers' lives are fragile.
Absolutely. Overwhelmingly so. And one of the story then is for thinking of a gallant multitude. You can obviously look at the word gallant, it's quite a strong word, which now are withering lay, like broken down, broken. Angry, slain. Obviously slain's like, it's quite old school, the word slain, so that's quite an interesting verb choice I think to have. Like it wasn't their choice almost, it's kind of just been taken from them without.
And if they're slain, it's kind of they're being hurt by
Pain.
something that is incredibly painful.
And then obviously you could come back to the end as well. We said about respect, beauty,
That idea is strewed as well.
scattered around.
Yeah, as if no one cares.
No one cares. And we could also say about the fact we've started to do quite a bit of language there. You could almost start to look at the use of punctuation. It's quite interesting. So there's obviously only a full stop at the end. We've got commas going through, but then some we haven't got commas on the end. So then you've got to start thinking about, well, why is the poet wanting to have no punctuation on the end of that line? Essentially, so when we said about strewed, then that is an interesting point because it's got no punctuation at the end there. So it's just like it's continuously happening.
Should we go to a different colour for structural?
Oh man, I just doing methods in one colour, miss. Well, continuously. Hang
A
on
lot
a
you've done
second.
is language.
Yeah, it's true. Continuously happening. Right, hang on. I'll go to green. Hopefully it'll show. Right, okay. So, green. Continuously happening. I'll just put that around here. Okay. Yeah. Right, other structural points to make. So we had about enjambment in there. What else could we talk about? Need to help me, so I'm not as good at structure.
I'm just thinking that the fact it's an extended metaphor itself is quite telling. So the use of the extended metaphor is a structural device. You might want to. You've talked about some shifts, but if you could make them more obvious to yourself, just where you think those shifts are really
this bit
clear.
here, so I can maybe like star it
Yeah.
potentially. Obviously, I've got my little that's about opening, but then there's a shift where it says, "But thickly, silently they fell," and then I think there's another shift here at the end. And I also kind of think there's a bit of it's almost like the tone changed at the end as well.
Yeah. I'm just thinking if we had a question on this about how the poet is showing attitudes to soldiers.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of points now would we kind of pull all these together? If that was kind of the question, what would you say?
Attitudes towards soldiers.
Yeah,
You write that
just
down.
makes-
Should it in black.
Yeah, just think kind of draw it together. If you've got a question here about how does this poem showing the poet's attitude to soldiers or attitudes to war, similar kind of ideas, isn't it? Now can we kind of draw those
All
methods
these points
and
together.
emotions? Yeah,
Okay.
and people
so
can kind of see the voice of the poet through that.
Definitely. Right, okay, so if we think about, well, she's obviously used first person as well, so clearly she
Yeah.
does feel she has been impacted a lot by this, whether it's been personal or whether it hasn't been, she still feels like she's part of the effort as well as everybody else, so she obviously feels personally invested maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's coming across that she's feeling war is futile
Yeah.
and the damage to soldiers is incredibly futile. And if we think about the life of the soldiers as well and how she's described them as being incredibly precious, which they are, and human life having that kind of quality.
Yeah, humanity's almost been
Humanity,
destroyed.
absolutely, yeah.
by water.
Yeah, because I mean, leaves themselves, if we think about the idea of leaves, they are fragile, especially when they've went into autumn and they are brown.
Yeah.
So we get that idea that she feels
Fragile,
incredibly powerful. Yeah, she feels.
Let's have a look what we've got. Personally, effect, we've already got that there. Dramatic amount. She almost feels like, we said about futile, didn't we? So that ties into that. Verb about slain, pain. So the
maybe
suffering.
if you draw some, yes, the suffering, absolutely. Just so, I mean,
them,
year 11, if you can, number them would be great. If we can kind of see how we're linking the voice, the attitude, the intention of the poem now to the methods. The methods are being explained. The intentions are being explained through the writer's choice of method.